Hi everybody, thanks for taking a couple of minutes and listening to what I got to say. You know, we always talk about we need actually very little kind of food, shelter. Kind of in the food is water, I consider. So if you want to add it to the big three: food, water, shelter. But I think as a vast majority of us that don't have the luxury of living on the equator, there's another very serious necessity, because without it, you can have all the food and shelter, but if you don't have heat, you're in very serious trouble. You can actually last a few days without some food, and you can actually have a pretty temporary shelter as long as you're warm. So heat's kind of to me, an overall necessity. And out of moving up here, I'm myself on the wood furnace. So I noticed last winter that I was volunteering a little bit in a wood share program in our local town, and they had their challenges and so forth. So this year I thought, well, not only do I have to do my own wood anyway, but why not take advantage of my setup here and actually produce enough that I can do and supply the ones that need it, their wood, in an emergency capacity. And for a lot up here, seniors, and we actually are having quite a few widows as well. So we're really finding with the heat costs of oil and so forth just on the rise, and then people having to rely on wood for their heat. Not only is it a lot more economical, but once you're set up for it and you can afford to get it in. I mean, now oil last year and gas and so forth, some people are paying $6,000 to $8,000 a season to heat their homes. I know myself, we were close to maybe $2,500 with the wood, which is one of the reasons we went to it. But you know, when you have very little or you have nothing, a couple $100 is an awful lot. And people are already making their choices between medications and eating and rent and food, and this coming up with heat, and at least on this end of it, I felt I could do something. So my project for this year, and it might seem as a bit of an off time of year for a lot of people, but this is the beginning of May. Sorry about that. Beginning of May and so forth is getting the wood cut down, and then towards the end of May and June is getting the logs delivered, along with early fall. But you try to get a good load in by the end of May, so that by the time you cut and split and it's ready to burn in beginning of December and so forth, it's had some good time to dry out and get a little better. So that's what I was able to do. So now that I've got set up in a bit of an area here, I'm going to get another load in October as well. And I'm going to do the own side of helping supply emergency firewood. And I know a couple of people that definitely just need it, and they can't afford their own. So that's my plan. I'm going to do all the labor and supply all the equipment and so forth, and then it's going to be all the gas and setting up people and all the deliveries and the rest of it. So what I thought I would do is start this campaign and maybe gain some support to at least pay for the logs, and I'll take care of the rest. So what I got here, I'll just kind of do a little swing around. Hopefully you'll be able to see. I got the first stack in here of logs, and then I got a splitter last year so that I could start doing my own wood. So at least I can process all of this, and then within inside of this area I've got enough room that I'm going to set up the wood pallets and set up an area for myself to be able to set up and process both of these two double loads, and that should give me about 20 face cords to be able to get out and have available to people. And of course, as usual, I'm pretty careful that I'll know the people, at least through referrals and references, and know that it does go to those that need it, and not just some that might want to take advantage. But I'll do my due diligence and as much as I can, and try to be as careful with the resources of not only all my time and labor and fuels and equipment and tools and the rest of it, but also any donations that come in. So I'm going to set the campaign at $3,000. That will cover the cost of the logs, bit of fuel, and hopefully you can find it in your heart to provide one of the, or help provide one of the 3 most important necessities that we all need to live. May Allah bless. Shalom.